After discussing it for a few moments, we decided that it just wasn't worth the risk of helping her, and we just decided to just turn back around and go a couple of country roads over that would lead us back to our original route a couple miles down the road. We yelled back that we were sorry, that we didn't have a working cell phone, and we began turning our vehicles around to head the opposite way to reach an alternate route. As we were turning around, she began yelling at us to please help her, but we still turned around and just left. As we drove off, we could hear her yelling curse words at us, and we felt horrible that we were possibly putting a baby in danger, but we felt that it was the safest thing to do for our families and our own children. Once we were about a mile away, we went ahead and stopped to debrief and to confirm our new temporary route since our pre-planned route was forced to be altered. We decided that it was probably just too dangerous to try to stop and help people, especially in this fairly remote area and being in an area that we weren't familiar with. While we were talking and looking at our map, we saw a pickup truck coming down the road. We tried to flag the truck down to give him a heads up about the female and the baby, but he just flew right by us, kicking up a lot of dust as he sped by. It was pretty obvious that he trusted us about as much as we trusted the female and her baby. So we just watched him and chuckled about the situation as he drove further and further away. "Oh crap," one of the retreat members said. "He just turned down that road that's heading in the same direction as that woman." "Well, I wonder what's going to happen, but I'm not going to head back to that area to find out." We kind of chuckled a little bit more about how much dust he kicked up on us when he sped by, and we went back to looking at our map. And it wasn't maybe about 2 minutes later, and we suddenly heard the faint sound of gunshots. Probably about 5 or 6 shots in total. Was that woman definitely part of an ambush and that guy driving that truck fall prey to it? Or did the guy in the truck find her and see her as an easy target? We never found out for certain, but we figured the guy probably fell prey to an ambush. We figured that an ambush would probably more likely end up with shots being fired. Because if the guy decided to prey on the female, he probably would have raped her instead of shooting her almost immediately. Upon feeling pretty certain that we had avoided an ambush, and feeling pretty certain that since the criminals had probably made a catch, that they would probably be on the move, so we decided to get out of the area so we didn't run across them. We headed a couple of miles down this alternate road, and then headed back westbound to get back on track of our original intended route. As we were still heading westbound, we saw a truck approaching us in the distance. The first guy on the convoy radioed, "Hey guys, isn't that the same truck that flew by us earlier?" As the truck passed by, it sure appeared to be the same pickup truck, but now it was being driven by a scroungy looking guy with a female on the passenger seat. And while we never got close enough to that female earlier to get a good look at her face, she sure looked like it could be her. As the truck passed by us, the guy glared at us as we passed. We kept moving and watched him until he disappeared out of sight. We had our families and kids with us, so we didn't want to risk any engagements. We didn't want to risk any bullets flying towards us, especially with our wives and our children in our vehicles. And I figured he probably didn't want to risk the engagement with our multiple vehicles. While he may be willing to engage if he can do an ambush, he probably figured this wasn't the time or the place to engage in anything more than one person at a time. Things to consider. If we run into lawlessness, have you trained yourself to know when you should or should not shoot? If you have a bug out location or a retreat, have you planned alternative routes to that location? Does your retreat group have radio communications? Would you be able to communicate with them if you're in separate vehicles so that you can receive information and make decisions on the go? And are you prepared that if you are en route to your retreat location, that criminals working in pairs may try to use things that will pull at your heartstrings to try to get you to stop so that they can ambush you?